Muhammad ibn Hassan al-Mahdi is believed by 12 Shia Muslims to be the Mahdi, an ultimate savior of humankind and the final Imam of the 12 Imams who will emerge with Isa in order to fulfill their mission of bringing peace and justice to the world. 12 Shia believe that al-Mahdi was born in 869 and assumed imamati at 5 years of age following the death of his father Hassan al-Askari. In the early years of his imamati he would only contact his followers through the 4 deputies. After a 72-year period, known as minor occultation, a few days before the death of his 4th deputy Abul Hasan Ali ibn Muhammad al-Samari in 941, he is believed to have sent his followers a letter. In that letter that was transmitted by al-Samari he declared the beginning of major occultation during which Mahdi is not in contact with his followers. Followers of Sunni Islam and other minority Shias mostly believe that the Mahdi has not yet been born, and therefore his exact identity is only known to Allah. Aside from the Mahdi's precise genealogy, Sunnis accept many of the same hadiths Shias accept about the predictions regarding the Mahdi's emergence, his acts, and his universal caliphate. Sunnis also have a few more Mahdi hadiths which are not present in Shia collections. The messianic belief in Mahdi helped Shias to tolerate unbearable situations to the level that without it the Shia religion might not have been able to survive persecutions in the course of history. It also acted as a moderating force among them by postponing political activities until the future coming of the awaited Mahdi. In the biographies of Mahdi written by Shias themselves, it is hard to draw a line between hagiographical and historical works. In Shia sources, even in historical works of Ibn Babuya, the birth of Imam was miraculous, which must be considered as hagiography. Aside from Shia works, almost nothing is known about the life of this Imam. According to Jan Richard, some even cast doubt on his actual existence. As the messianic role of al-Mahdi, Abbasids crushed every revolt of Alids which caused al-Askari to hide the child's birth on 255-868 and inform only close companions of the child's birth. Most scholars say al-Mahdi was born in 869 AD. His mother was reportedly called Nargiz. There are a couple of narrations regarding the origin of his mother. One is that Nargiz was a Byzantine slave. Another narration says she was a black slave from Africa. Muhammad Ali Amir Moazzi states that names like Sausan, Nargiz or Rayhana were common names for slaves at that time, and his mother's name supports this narration. Other narration says that she was a Byzantine princess who pretended to be a slave so that she might travel from her kingdom to Arabia. Muhammad Ali Amir Moazzi suggests in Iranica that the last version is undoubtedly legendary and hagiographic. Names, kunyas and titles. One of his names is Mahdi, because he guides to secret matters. Al-Qaim, whose rise against injustice is awaited. Sahib al-Amra. He is a rightful leader whose obedience is obligatory for the community by God. As his occultation will be long and believers will be waiting for his rise and reappearance, he is called Muntazar al-Hujjar, the witness before God against those who refused his orders, the one who informs about God's religion and guides to it his attributes. He will be of the prophets Ahl al-Bayt. He will be of the Ali's descendants. He will be a descendant of Fatima. He will be from the 9th generation after Imam Hussein. He will be a descendant of Imam Zayn al-Abidin. He will be a descendant of Imam Hassan al-Askari. He will be the 12th Imam of the Imams of the Ahl al-Bayt. His life will be prolonged. His occultation will be prolonged. With his appearance, Islam will rule the world. He will fill the earth with justice and righteousness. Different seasons of his life. Hidden life. The Quran states that there are two kinds of saints of God among people: apparent and hidden. The hidden saints live among the people and are aware of them, but the people do not know them. Surah Kahf 65-66 points out that even though people do not know the hidden saints, they benefit from them like the sun hidden behind the clouds. The occultation. According to Sakadina, in every age, there is an imam, either apparent or hidden. Because of dangers threatening his life, he might be concealed by God's order. According to a hadith, the real reason for the occultation will be known when the imam reappears. Al-Numani states two reasons for the occultation: the believers being evaluated by God for their assiduity to their hidden imam, and the hidden imam not undergoing the bay'ah of the cruel leaders. 12 Shias believed that the imam did not suffer death, but that, for various reasons, has been concealed by Allah from mankind. This event is known as the occultation. Until the year R329, the occultation was not divided into two kinds. The period of occultation is divided into two parts: minor occultation, Ghabat al-Safra, or minor occultation, consists of the first few decades after the imam's disappearance, when communication with him was maintained through his deputies. Tusi and al-Mufid state that the occultation resumed on the third or seventh day of his birth. Major occultation, Ghabat al-Kubra, or major occultation, began R941 and is believed to continue until her time decided by Allah, when the Mahdi will reappear to bring absolute justice to the world. According to the last letter of al-Mahdi to Ali ibn Muhammad al-Samari, from the day of your death, the last deputy, the period of my major occultation will begin. Henceforth, no one will see me, unless and until Allah makes me appear. Another view is that the hidden imam is on earth, among the body of the Shia, but incognito. Numerous stories exist of the hidden imam manifesting himself to prominent members of the ulama. When Jabir asked the Prophet about the benefits of the hidden imam, the Prophet replied that the people would benefit from his love as they benefit from the sun when it is covered by the clouds. Al-Sharif al-Mutada states that belief to the existence of imam causes the people act according to his desires, and to guard against harms is a necessary reason for the hidden imam. Reasons and consequences of the occultation. The occultation of 12th Imam left a considerable gap in leadership of Shias. According to Shia beliefs, the imam was both the spiritual and political head of the community. Although during the lesser occultation a network of imam deputies claimed to have the right to handle Shia communities' issues, this system was not continued during the greater occultation. After the greater occultation, the role of imam as the head of community was left vacant, which did not theoretically matter at the beginning of occultation because Shias had no political power at that time. However, when Shia states arose in later centuries, since the hidden imam was alive and was the leader of Muslims, the role of the Shia states among Shia communities was in question. This problem has caused continuing tension between government and religion throughout Shia history. The occultation has resulted in many people claiming to be the returned Mahdi. According to seminary expert Mehdi Ghaffari, more than 3,000 fake Mahdis were in prison in Iran in 2012. Reappearance. 12 Shias cite various references from the Quran and reports, or hadith, from Imam Mahdi and the 12 Imams with regard to the reappearance of al-Mahdi, who would, in accordance with Allah's command, bring justice and peace to the world by establishing Islam throughout the world. Shias believe that Isa will also come and follow the Imam Mahdi to destroy tyranny and falsehood and to bring justice and peace to the world. This will also be accompanied by the Raja of several other personalities for retribution of the previously oppressed against the oppressor. Condition before the occultation. As al-Askari died in R260 in Samarra, he did not leave any apparent son. Because the situation was difficult and Muhammad was searching for the successor of the Imam, Imam did not reveal his son, and Shias were confused about the successor of the Imam. The troubled situation of the Abbasid Caliphs made people think that a descendant of the Prophet would rise with a sword and wipe out injustice on earth, which acted like a consolation for the oppressed people who were waiting for the establishment of God's will on earth. Historicity of Muhammad al-Mahdi. The historical existence of the 12th Imam has been long debated since the death of the 11th Imam. Even though Shiite scholars believe that the 12th Imam is an actual person, the 11th Imam, Hassan al-Askari, was kept more or less a prisoner by the Abbasids in the camp at Samarra, about 100 kilometers north of Baghdad, and died there in 874 CE at the age of 28. It appears that none of the Shiite notables knew of the existence of the son of the 11th Imam. The only possible occasion the son of 11th Imam is said to have made a public appearance was as a child at the time of the 11th Imam's death. Thereafter the boy was seen no more. It was believed that the 12th Imam was connected to his community through 4 agents, giving his commands via letter. Mamen doubts the historical accuracy of these accounts, mentioning that there is no indication that the number of agents was limited to 4, and several others are mentioned. It seems likely that after the death of the 11th Imam, for the duration of a natural lifespan, this system had continued to operate. The brother of the 11th Imam, Jafar ibn Ali, remained firm in his assertion that his brother had no progeny, and there were legal disputes over the ownership of his brother's estate with the supposed agents. Henry Corbin, in contrast, believed that the question of historicity is irrelevant, admitting that the idea of the hidden Imam was shaped by the person of 12th, and considering the extensive body of literature about him, saw the birth and his occultation as archetypal and symbolic, describing it as sacred history. In his History of Islamic Philosophy he writes, "The simultaneity of these is rich in meanings from the mystical point of view. Here above all, our approach should be that of the phenomenologist. We must discover the aims of Shiite awareness." There was a hadith that was already present in Orthodox Sunni collections wherein the Prophet Muhammad declares that he will be followed by 12 caliphs from his descendants, all from his tribe, the Quraysh. The hadith appears in both Bukhari and Muslim. The statement had been in circulation long before the 874 AD. Scholarly observations. Some scholars, including Bernard Lewis, also point out that the idea of an imam in occultation was not new in 873 CE, but that it was a recurring factor in Shia history. Examples of this include the cases of Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah, Muhammad ibn Abdullah and Naf Sarazona Zakiyah, Musa al-Qadim, Muhammad ibn Kashim, Yahya ibn Umar and Muhammad ibn Ali al-Hadi. According to Jasem Hossein, traditions regarding occultation of Mahdi had been collected by many different Shia sects. Before 874, the traditions existed in Waqifite, Zaydi, Yarudi and Imamite books. In Waqifis, and Marti Ibrahim ibn Saleh Koufi, a disciple of the 5th Imam, wrote a book titled Occultation. Ali ibn Hussein Ta'e Tartari and Hassan ibn Muhammad ibn Samar each wrote a book titled Book of Occultation, and introduced the 7th Imam as the Imam who will go into occultation. Among Zaydis Abu Sa'id Abad ibn Yaqub Ravijini Asfari, in a book titled Abu Sa'id Asfari, collects traditions on occultation and the 12 Imams and the end of Imams in 12 without naming them al. From the 12 verse, Ali ibn Mazir al-Wazi, who died on or before 874 CE, wrote 2 books titled Kitab al-Malahim and Kitab al-Qaim, both on occultation and the rise of Imam with sword. Hossein ibn Mahbub Sarid wrote the book titled al-Mashikah on occultation. Faisal ibn Shazan Nizaburi wrote al-Kariba, which is narrated from al-Mashikah. He died 2 months before the 11th Imam and declared the 12th Imam as the Qaim. Jan Richards suggests occultation was a convenient solution for the last Imam's justification of their quietism. According to Sakadina, however, the idea of the eschatological Qaim who would rise after going to occultation was mentioned by the 5th and 6th Imam, i.e., Muhammad al-Baqir and Jafar al-Sadiq at various times when the two were approached by their followers and assured of their support if they wanted to rise against the existing regime. Hassan al-Askari's estate was divided between his brother Jafar and his mother. Mujan Mamen writes in An Introduction to Shia Islam, Jafar remained unshakable in his assertion that his brother had no progeny. According to Sakadina, sources describe Jafar as a worldly and pleasure-loving man who, in order to become the Imam, had used various repressive means in the presence of al-Mu'tamid and more than once has tried to slander those who upheld the imamati of the infant son of al-Askari in concealment. The period which gave rise to this confusion began with the caliphate of al-Mu'tamid and continued up to the time of al-Muqtadir. During this time, the agents of the dead Imam persisted in upholding the belief that there existed a son of al-Askari in occultation who would rise when God commands him to do so. The upholders of this belief were under attack from all sides and met with severe opposition. The Abbasids were particularly concerned about the messianic successor of al-Askari in concealment. Al-Mu'tamid for this reason ordered the house of the Imam to be investigated, and all the rooms were locked after being searched. Efforts were made to find out if the Imam had left a son, and midwives were appointed in the harem of the Imam in order to detect any pregnancy. One of the slave girls was suspected to be pregnant and isolated in a room in a special house where she was kept under surveillance. On one occasion, al-Askari's wife was imprisoned on refusing to reveal the whereabouts of her son. This situation continued until the caliphate was caught in the political disturbances caused by the Zanjan provincial leaders in Iran, Egypt and Syria. The Abbasid had also supported Jafar, a brother of al-Askari and claimant to the office of the imamati, in order to create a dispute within the Imam's family. Our sources describe Jafar as a worldly and pleasure-loving man who, in order to become the Imam, had used various repressive means in the presence of al-Mu'tamid and more than once has tried to slander those who upheld the imamati of the infant son of al-Askari in concealment. According to Jassim M. Hussain, the majority of the Imamites denied his birth or even his existence, and abandoned their belief in the hidden Imam except for a small minority belonging to the circles of narrators, like Ibn Qubba and al-Numani, who based their belief on the traditions of the Imams. Jassim Hussain indicates several books were written before the minor occultation predicting the event of the 12th Imam being the Mahdi and his going to occultation. By the 3rd and 4th decades of the 10th century, the majority of the Shi'is were agreed on the line of the 12 Imams. Sunni view. Historically, the Sunnites often applied it, Mahdi, to the 4 caliphs after the Prophet, who were called al-Khulafa, al-Rashidun, al-Mahdiyyun. The rightly guided caliphs, Sulayman b. Surd, called al-Hussein, after his martyrdom, Mahdi b. al-Mahdi. The majority of Sunni Muslims do not consider the son of Hassan al-Askari to be the Mahdi nor to be in occultation. However, they do believe that the Mahdi will come from Muhammad's family. Sunnis believe that the Mahdi has not yet been born, and therefore his true identity is known only to Allah. Aside from the Mahdi's precise genealogy, Sunnis accept many of the same hadiths Shias accept about the predictions regarding the Mahdi's emergence, his acts, and his universal khilafat. Sunnis also have a few more Mahdi hadiths which are not present in Shia collections. Sunnis also believe that Jesus will return alongside the Mahdi, with the only difference being that they disagree with the Shia regarding exactly who the Mahdi is. Many Sunnis, Ismaili and Zaydiyya, argue that the 11th Imam, of the 12 Shia, Hassan al-Askari, did not have a son. 12 Shias say his birth was concealed. Others argue that even if he had a son, Muhammad ibn al-Hassan could not live for over 1,000 years. Sunni authors sharing Shia view on Mahdi in 648 1250-1. The Syrian Shafi'i author Muhammad b. Yusuf al-Gandji al-Karashi wrote K. al-Bayan fi Akbar Sahib al-Zaman in proving the Mahdi-ship of the 12th Imam using Sunni traditions. In 651 1250, Kamal al-Din Muhammad b. Talib al-Adawi al-Nizabini, a Shafi'i scholar, composed his Matalib al-Su'al fi Manaqib al-Rasul, answering Sunni objections to the belief that the 12th Imam was the Mahdi. The Sibt Ibn al-Jawzi wrote Adkirat Kawis al-Mabidi Hikr Qasar as al-Ima, collecting hadiths from Sunni sources about the virtues of Ali and his descendants, and at the end affirmed that the 12th Imam was the expected Qa'im and Mahdi. Among Sufi circles, Abu Bakr al-Bayhaqi had noted that some Sufi Gnostics agreed with the Imami doctrine about the identity of the Mahdi and his Ghariba. The Persian Sufi Sadr al-Din Ibrahim al-Hamaya supported Imami doctrine on the Mahdi in his Farid al-Simtain. The Egyptian Sufi al-Sharani, while generally showing no sympathy for Shi'ism, affirmed in his al-Yarmukitwa Ldjr that the Mahdi was a son of Imam al-Hasan al-Askari, born in the year 255 869 and would remain alive until his meeting with Jesus.